The flickering gas lamps cast long, distorted shadows across the cobblestone streets of Olduvin, a city steeped in a history as dark and convoluted as the labyrinthine alleyways that snaked through its ancient heart. I, Elias Vance, an antiquarian with a morbid fascination for the city's shadowed past, had taken residence in a dilapidated townhouse nestled within the heart of the Merchants' Quarter, a district once bustling with commerce, now a decaying relic of a bygone era. Olduvin, a city renowned for its opulent architecture and clandestine societies, held a dark secret, a hidden history whispered in hushed tones by the city's oldest inhabitants. They spoke of the Crimson Covenant, a secret cabal that had once held sway over the city's elite, a group rumored to practice arcane rituals and indulge in unspeakable acts. They spoke of a hidden chamber, a place of dark ceremonies and forbidden knowledge, said to be concealed beneath the city's foundations. My research, a meticulous tracing of the city's historical records and forgotten archives, had led me to the Crimson Covenant, their influence a subtle, yet pervasive thread woven through Olduvin's history. The records spoke of their rituals, their sacrifices, their pursuit of forbidden knowledge, their ultimate disappearance, leaving behind only whispers and shadows. The townhouse, a relic of the Merchants' Quarter's former grandeur, held an unsettling atmosphere. Its creaking floorboards, its drafty corridors, its shadowed rooms, all seemed to hold the echoes of a dark past. I found myself drawn to the basement, a damp, subterranean space filled with the scent of damp earth and decaying wood. One evening, while exploring the basement's depths, I discovered a hidden chamber, concealed behind a false wall. The chamber, illuminated by a single, flickering oil lamp, held an atmosphere of oppressive silence. Its walls were lined with strange symbols, their meaning indecipherable. In the center of the chamber, a stone altar stood, its surface stained with a dark, viscous substance. A sense of unease washed over me, a feeling of intruding on something ancient and forbidden. I felt a presence, an unseen entity, watching me from the shadows. The air grew cold, thick with an oppressive energy. I began to experience strange occurrences within the townhouse. Whispers echoed in the empty rooms, their voices hushed and indistinct, yet their tone undeniably unsettling. Objects moved on their own, their movements deliberate and purposeful. Shadows danced in the corners of my vision, their forms shifting and changing, as if alive. One night, as I lay in bed, a figure appeared at the foot of my bed. It was tall and gaunt, its form indistinct, its presence a chilling stillness. Its eyes, glowing with an unearthly luminescence, were fixed on mine. The figure moved towards me, its movements slow and deliberate, its gaze unwavering. I felt a coldness, a chilling dread, seeping into my bones. The air grew heavy, thick with an oppressive energy. I tried to speak, but my voice was trapped in my throat, a silent scream. I tried to move, but my body was paralyzed, trapped in a state of chilling stillness. The figure reached out, its hand outstretched, its touch like ice. I don't know how long the figure stood there, its presence a chilling stillness in the darkness. But when it finally vanished, I was left trembling, my body drenched in a cold sweat. The following days were filled with a growing sense of dread. The occurrences intensified, the whispers growing louder, the shadows more pronounced. I felt a constant presence, an unseen entity, watching me, waiting. I delved deeper into my research, desperate to understand the nature of the entity that haunted the townhouse. I discovered that the hidden chamber had once been a place of dark rituals, a place where the Crimson Covenant had summoned an entity, a creature of shadow and darkness, to serve their bidding. The entity, bound to the chamber, had remained trapped within the townhouse, its presence growing stronger with each passing year. It fed on the fear and despair of those who dared to enter its domain. I realized that I had awakened the entity, my presence a catalyst for its growing power. I knew that I had to leave Olduvin, to escape the entity's grasp. But the entity, sensing my intent, grew more aggressive. The whispers intensified, morphing into a chorus of guttural growls. The shadows grew darker, more menacing. The figure appeared more frequently, its presence a chilling reminder of the entity's power. One night, as I was packing my belongings, the figure appeared before me, its form now clear, its eyes burning with an unholy light. It spoke, its voice a low, rasping whisper that echoed in the silence. "You cannot escape," it said, its tone filled with malice. "You have awakened me, and now you will serve me." The figure reached out, its hand outstretched, its touch like ice. I felt a searing pain, a coldness that spread through my veins, a sense of being pulled into the darkness. I don't know what happened after that. I don't remember leaving the townhouse. But I know that I am no longer myself. The entity has taken control, its presence a chilling stillness within my mind. I am now a vessel, a servant of its dark desires. And I know, with a chilling certainty, that I will remain trapped in Oldhaven, forever bound to the entity, forever serving its dark purpose. The salt-laced wind whipped at my threadbare coat, a constant, mournful sigh that echoed the emptiness within me. I, Jasper Thorne, a cartographer with a penchant for the forgotten corners of the world, had found myself drawn to the Isle of Harrow's Point, a desolate, windswept rock jutting out into the churning expanse of the northern Atlantic. Its reputation, a tapestry woven with maritime tragedies and whispered legends, held a strange allure. The island, accessible only by a weathered ferry that braved the treacherous currents, was a place of stark beauty and unsettling isolation. Its jagged cliffs, shrouded in perpetual mist, plunged into the tempestuous sea, their edges worn smooth by the relentless waves. The single village, a cluster of dilapidated cottages clinging to the island's sheltered cove, was inhabited by a handful of stoic, sea-worn residents, their eyes filled with a quiet, unsettling knowledge. My purpose on Harrow's Point was ostensibly to chart its uncharted coves and hidden inlets, to map its treacherous coastline. But beneath the veneer of scientific inquiry lay a deeper, more personal quest. I sought to understand the island's history, to unravel the threads of its maritime legends, to confront the whispers of the sea. The locals, initially wary of my presence, gradually warmed to me, their reticence giving way to a reluctant sharing of their island's dark history. They spoke of the Drowned Watcher, a spectral figure said to haunt the island's treacherous reefs, a vengeful spirit that claimed the lives of unwary sailors. They spoke of the Whispering Stones, ancient monoliths that lined the island's northern shore, their surfaces etched with indecipherable symbols, their voices carried on the wind. One elderly fisherman, a man named Silas, whose eyes held the deep, knowing gaze of the sea, warned me against venturing too far from the village. He spoke of a hidden cove, known as Dead Man's Reach, a place where the sea's currents were said to be particularly treacherous, a place where the Drowned Watcher held sway. Intrigued, I ignored his warnings, drawn by the allure of the forbidden. I set out at dawn, my compass and charts my only companions, my footsteps echoing on the windswept cliffs. The island's landscape, shrouded in mist, took on an ethereal quality, its jagged peaks and hidden coves veiled in an unsettling silence. I found Dead Man's Reach, a secluded cove nestled between towering cliffs, its waters dark and still, a stark contrast to the churning sea beyond. The air was heavy, thick with a sense of foreboding. The silence was profound, broken only by the rhythmic crashing of the waves against the cliffs. As I began to chart the cove's depths, a strange phenomenon occurred. The compass needle spun erratically, its movements defying the laws of magnetism. The air grew colder, and a sense of unease washed over me. I felt a presence, an unseen entity, watching me from the depths of the cove. A low, Guttural moan echoed from the water's surface, a sound that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the sea. The water began to churn, its surface rippling and swirling, as if disturbed by an unseen force. A figure emerged from the depths, its form indistinct, its presence a chilling stillness. It was tall and gaunt, its limbs elongated and skeletal, its eyes glowing with an unearthly luminescence. It was the Drowned Watcher. The figure moved towards me, its movements fluid and silent, its gaze fixed on mine. The moan intensified, morphing into a mournful wail that echoed through the cove. I felt a coldness, a chilling dread, seeping into my bones. I stumbled back, my breath ragged, my body trembling. I turned to flee, but the figure moved with an unnatural speed, its hand outstretched, its touch like ice. I felt a searing pain, a coldness that spread through my veins, a sense of being pulled into the depths of the sea. I don't know how long I remained in the cove, but when I regained consciousness, the figure was gone. The water was still, the air silent. But the feeling of being watched, of being followed, persisted. I returned to the village, my body weak, my mind reeling. I told Silas what I had seen, and he nodded, his eyes filled with a quiet resignation. He told me that I had been marked, that the Drowned Watcher would never forget my face. I left Harrow's Point the next day, the island's jagged cliffs receding into the mist-shrouded distance. But the memory of the Drowned Watcher, its glowing eyes, its mournful wail, its chilling presence, followed me. The whispers of the sea, the legends of the island, the feeling of being watched, they lingered in my mind, a constant, unsettling reminder of the ancient forces that dwell in the depths, the unseen entities that claim the unwary. And I knew, with a chilling certainty, that the sea, and the Drowned Watcher, would one day call me back,